Now, throughout the last few decades, we have definitely seen a whole lot of Hollywood stars going under the knife to change and or upgrade their appearance, with the hopes of looking younger in a lot of those cases. But in the last decade or so, I'd say that things have definitely ramped up when it comes to the number of celebs opting for these, in many cases, irreversible changes. And one celebrity in particular that has recently been looking noticeably different is Jim Carrey. And he was definitely one of the last persons that I would have, and probably many of you all watching would have guessed would go down this route. Jim was recently spotted at the 51st César, I think is how you say it, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but César Awards, often referred to as the French Oscars in Paris, back on February 26th of this year. And it was nice to see him for the first time in a while, but the only question that people were really asking was, what the hell happened to this man's face? He would go on to receive an honorary award and deliver his acceptance speech in French, and of course everyone was applauding.
Plus tard, j'ai continué jusqu'à Los Angeles, et ce soir avec ce magnifique honneur, ce Carrey a bouclé la boucle.
But I'm sure simultaneously they were all like, who is this and what did he do with Jim? It actually had people questioning if this was a Jim Carrey clone, because the clone conversation has really come to the forefront of the internet conspiracy theories, and that, along with the aggressive use of AI, has really been making people question what's real from fake. The interview of him on the red carpet at this event would only increase the speculation because it sounded nothing like the Jim Carrey everyone had grown to know over the decades.
Practiced it like crazy, but it's then I watched everybody talking 1,000 miles an hour up there receiving their awards, and I was like, I'm dead. And I made mistakes, and I was like a novice. I felt a lot of love.
Now, there have been other celebrities that people have questioned in the past for potentially also not looking quite like themselves, to the point where the clone or decoy topic has come up, and people would believe that the actual star is being kept somewhere else, or something worse could have happened to them. And there's also literally special effects makeup artists out here who have become unbelievably good at their job. And it really has you questioning everything. Like, is this possibly a body double?
I've done this a few times now, and it's using a decoy. So what I do is I send him off in one direction, sucks all the press in that direction, and I can just have my day.
But I'm getting a little carried away here. I was going down a whole rabbit hole for a second. But really though, what the heck happened to Jim Carrey? We're talking about the Jim Carrey from The Mask, Ace Ventura, and The Grinch. This man was contorting his face to convey so many different characters and emotions, and now we just have this. Anywho, I'm being a little extra. Obviously, he doesn't look that wildly different except for some nips and tucks here and there. But if he did just get plastic surgery, the question for me would be, for what? For a while, Jim was actually very open about being against the whole Hollywood machine and the vanity of it all. And he had even had a spiritual awakening, so to speak, and started talking about the darker aspects of this machine. So what would be the reasoning behind this particular choice? He seemed to despise being in the limelight, so why would he care about his appearance to this extent? Back in 2017, at an event, he even said in an interview that there's basically no meaning to any of this, referring to the event and all the red carpet stuff.
Tell me, is it true you're wandering the streets? You need a date to the party? What's up?
No. I'm doing just fine. I just, there's no meaning to any of this. So I wanted to find the most meaningless thing that I could come to and join. And here I am.
They're celebrating.
You got to admit it's completely meaningless.
Well, they say they're celebrating icons inside.
Celebrating
Do you believe
icons.
in
Boy, that is just the absolute lowest aiming, possibility that we could come up with. It's like icons. Do you believe in icons? I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you exist, but there is a wonderful fragrance in the air.
And the interviewer is just stunned. She doesn't even know what to say in the moment because it was like, well, okay then. So I guess my next question here might probably be, was he just having an identity crisis maybe? Because after so many years of having to perform and be over the top in a sense, was he now just trying to figure out who he, Jim Carrey, really was? But later on in the year, he would do another interview at another event basically explaining what he meant by the other one, where he starts talking about Jim Carrey also being a persona, like all the other characters he had played, I think.
I don't exist. So they're all characters that I've played, including Jim Carrey, including Joel Barish, including any of those things. They're all characters. Jim Carrey was a less intentional character,
Right.
because I thought I was just building something that people would like, but it was a character. I played the guy that was free from concern so that people who watched me would be free from concern.
So there was a lot of reevaluation when it came to this new age Jim, it seems. It was also reported that in 2025 that turning 60 had apparently hit him pretty hard and also accelerated his wish to disappear completely from the Hollywood scene. So maybe it doesn't really have anything to do with all the body double stuff and not wanting to go to award shows and be invisible, but rather him maybe just not feeling entirely comfortable with everything that comes with aging in general. Maybe Jim just doesn't want to actually get old. I mean, we've seen a whole lot more people these days also wanting to do the nips, the tucks, injections, the pulling back of the skin, and the crazy fat removals. And I don't know if people would ever come to realize that that road never really leads to satisfaction. You're always going to find something else to fool with. And also, I wonder when these same folks might also realize that they just look normal when they actually allow themselves to look how they're naturally supposed to look. You actually look more like an alien than a youthful human being when you start playing around with your face. It's almost rare and bizarre now to see a face that actually moves when there's an emotion, and actually has some type of fine lines and wrinkles like they're supposed to after a certain age. And it's actually refreshing to see someone look their age these days and not feel insecure about it, because it really is a beautiful thing. Not everyone gets the blessing of being able to grow old.
Well, when you say, is there beauty in aging, aren't you really saying, do you think it's possible for other people to find aging beautiful? And like, I just don't give a like, I think I look rad. I think my face represents who I am.
Is it really about confidence?
Well, I think it's really about fear, because I think that everybody has a completion to this sentence. I'm afraid if people think I look old, then therefore, and for different people it's different things. Some are afraid they'll lose their job or never get a job or not get a maid or no one's going to listen to them or whatever. And that fear, my position is that that fear existed before your face started changing. So it's an opportunity to take care of that fear, so it's not leading you around by the nose and making you make other decisions that are not you, taking you off track.
But I'd also like to talk about this topic again regarding how it's been affecting the impact of films and television, because actors are now unable to really convey emotion anymore because they could barely move their faces. But I'll save that for another video. But what do you guys think about all this Jim Carrey new face stuff? Let me know down in the comments. But for now, I'll catch you all in the next one.